Yo, what's up? If the music's too loud, let me know. It might be too loud. I'm gonna paint this monkey today because I got nothing better to do. Actually, I have a lot of better things to do, but I'm just wanting to paint a monkey because it seems like a good thing. Yo, what's up, Myriad Arts? Welcome back. Let's see if we can... I don't want to select from it, so I'm gonna do my own colors. Yes, monkey. Let's see if I can manage to figure out what the heck I'm doing with him too. We're gonna see if we can do this in 30 minutes. I forgot to set the timer. I'm gonna set a 30-minute timer because I feel like the streams are low-key better when I have a time limit that is not insanely long. There we go. Cool. Alright, let's paint this monkey. I think this needs to be more desaturated. Almost like just a gray. And then goes over here. Yo, what's up, Prothvi? Welcome back. Good to see you. I'm finally getting back to streaming normally. I'm gonna make sure I keep doing it too. I had a realization about how I don't necessarily have to feel like doing something in order to just do it. And then usually I'll get into the I'll get into the flow of doing it once I start doing it. I'm a little tired today though. I'm not gonna lie. I'm very tired today. I stayed up late filling out financial forms. Yo, what's up, Sakul Archive? I think that's how you say your name. I'm gonna assume it is. Monkey. We'll see if I can accurately get the lighting on him. This almost has like an intermediary. It's almost like a desaturated blue almost. Like something like that. Yeah, it seems more like it. Yo, what's up, Fab SB? Just a heads up for Twitch and YouTube people. I'll stream into Instagram. And Instagram is poppin' usually. So if I'm talking to the ether, that's why. Welcome everyone. Just doing a quick 30-minute live stream this morning. Listening to some Zelda lo-fi. And drawing a monkey. Best monkey around. Yeah, look at this dude. I freaking love monkeys. They're so funny, bro. Also, I love painting. Painting's so underrated. It's just one of those relaxing things in life. Granted, this is probably not perfect, but we make do. Monkey! If this is actually good, I might post this for fun. Also, I didn't post anything yesterday. No art, even though I still painted because I was working on a very philosophical YouTube video about AI. I noticed a lot of artists have made videos about like the technical aspect, so I made one about the philosophical aspect that I don't think a lot of people are talking about. But it does have a lot to do with like the ethical implications of AI. The nose almost goes... You don't even really see this side of the eye right here. I'm literally just using a circle brush, bro. Like, I kid you not, this brush has taken me through the muck and back. Granted, I could be using one of these more textured ones, like this one. Actually, this is pretty much the same thing as the circle brush, except it's like a very long rectangle, which I also like. I just feel like the circle brush has so much control. Maybe that's because I just use it exclusively. I think also my use of the circle brush has caused my style to be so all over the place. If you know what I mean. If you look at my portfolio, you'll see. Because with the circle brush, you can just do so much, and so I'm never locked into doing one specific mode of creation. I think his eyes go up further. And also it's redder. Oh, this is actually kind of difficult because it's very subtle. Alright, I'm gonna get in there and paint these details because I think that'll help us quite a bit. But I think the snout does go out further. Almost like that. And then also you have the fur on the underside of his chin. Not looking great quite yet. This needs to be like a gray. That's a little better. He also slouching a little too much. Yeah, alright. Now we're getting somewhere. I think the top of his head is flatter. Much better. But there's the issue of his mouth still. Like right here. So the sounds we're listening to, I'm pretty sure are not copyrighted. They're the Zelda lo-fi music. Yeah. Also listening to Zelda lo-fi, definitely. I have so many good memories listening to this track. Especially in like high school, dreaming, like one day being out on my own and like thinking, this is the music I'm gonna listen to on my own like sound system. In my own place. And now I am. Granted, I was listening in my headphones back then and I still am. Ah, there we go. It's getting a little bit better. This one's like a black. Monkey. So I found this image on Pinterest. I have no idea who owns it, but it's cool. So you can probably find it on Pinterest if you look up like DJ Monkey or something. This is a weird shape. It's like a... Yeah, okay. I can certainly try to do that. It's a little better. Oh my gosh, what's up, Marvin DeMartian? It shows me who joined, so that's why. That's how I know you joined. I recognize you from yesterday and from the past. This would be a good sticker. We need a lighter color. Yo. Sorry. The eyelids on the side are very interesting because they. Good monkey. So, I am a concept artist. I work in the games industry. I also work as an art director for the studio that I've been working at for a year now. I went part-time recently though because it's a very small studio and I was doing 3D. Like I was making assets and models and I was much slower than like a 3D artist would be. So I told my boss, make me go part-time so you can pay an actual 3D artist to do this stuff who will be more proficient at it than I am. So now I'm doing part-time, looking for any commissions just to support myself as well. You know how it goes, typical artist life. And also I'm now leaning more into building up my own personal stuff as well. Like Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, making products with my art too, like t-shirts and books. But of course, like it's a competitive world. There's a lot of people who want to do this stuff. So I'm probably at some point gonna get back into like working full time, but in the meantime, it's been very rewarding to focus on building out my own personal brand. But it's hard. I think what I'm gonna do over the next few months is work on my own game. I've worked on a few of my own games, but they're all Game Jam games, and you can't really sell Game Jam games, so my income has been lagging a bit. But if I can manage to get a game out there that's high enough quality as to where I can actually justify putting a price tag on it, then that would be like an ideal scenario, but I have to get there first because making a game is no easy task. But yeah, I work in the games industry. Worked on like Dave the Diver. My current boss is one of the original devs for Rocket League. He's a very, very creative guy, very passionate about what he does. One of the dude who made the ball mechanics work. And then I've of course worked for like a bunch of indie studios. I'm pretty young still. I'm 24, so 2 years out of college almost. Did not go to an art school, so it was an uphill battle getting work and freaking figuring out how to paint. I had some very good professors, but the curriculum was not intensive. It was pretty chill. Yeah, 3D art is very unique in that it has its own pipelines that are very, very different from 2D art, but it is also art. Like you make a 3D sculpture and it's art in a lot of ways because it looks pretty, it has a lot of creative aspects. But dude, if you have me do another low topology on top of a high topo, like I'd forget the exact term, high vertice mesh to a low vertice mesh, then I might cry because that stuff is probably one of the most difficult things in the games industry. There is a definite art to it. Gosh, reference does make a huge difference, doesn't it? Monkey. I might do this and just go in there with this brush. Yeah, that works much better. I think we need to get more shading on the inside of his jaw too. And also the underside. But yeah, I'm gonna do some more game jams hopefully in the future. Right now I've done 3 total. And dude, game jams are so fun. If you've not done a game jam, I highly recommend. So a 3D mesh on Blender, for example, is made up of little tiny points. So like 1 point, 2 point, 3 point forms a try. And then like, let's say you have another try over here and another try over here. Triangles are what the game engines break them, the like faces, these are faces. It breaks the faces down into that. But usually it will, when we're doing low topology meshes, what we'll do is we'll take, say like a cube, and let's say the cube, sorry, this is actually such a rough drawing. Let's say the cube is actually like, has a bunch of texture on it. Like it's subdivided over and over and over again. Like so. And each one of these planes is going like a different direction. So this is a very high topology mesh because each one of these is a point, and this is expensive for game engines to run. So what I would do then as a 3D artist is I would take this high topology mesh and turn it into a low topology mesh. And then what I would do, this is the fun part, I would then take this texture, so all of the divots and the way that they cast light on one another, so like you see the texture because it's actually a part of the mesh, I would put it through something called a baker. And what that does is it creates a light source. And I use XNormals because it's just pretty reliable, but dang, the UI is bad. I'll show you the UI if you're curious. It is actually one of the most Y2K UIs I've ever seen in my entire life. Look at this thing. What is this? Do you see this? So you put your high def mesh in, this one right here, and then you also pop your low def mesh in, so like this one, and you bake it right here. And what the baking does is it gets your normal map, your height map, your ambient occlusion, all that stuff. It saves the textures that the high vertex count, these little dots, high poly count causes, and it bakes it into a 2D texture that you can then apply in Game Engine to the lower resolution mesh. So it looks like it is still this really high resolution mesh, while this is only like 10% that it would normally be. Sorry, that was probably the way too complicated answer, but that is essentially the thought behind it. And this part right here is the hardest part because you have to by hand get rid of each of these vertices. You can do like modifiers on it, but it does not do a proper job usually. So you have to go in and hand place all the vertices. And that can be really complicated, especially when you want to, say, do a face. So let me pull up a face topology real quick. Dude, it's crazy I know this stuff because like I was not taught this in school at all. I learned this all in the industry. If I do face topo low, I'll show you what I mean. So obviously faces are very, very high resolution usually, because you need to get all the details. This probably gives you the best idea. So you see how all of these squares are evenly placed and how it's perfectly mirrored, and like the eyes have like circles. So what you're doing when you do this is you have to do like spatial math in your head to figure out where to place the vertices, because you don't want any face with 5 points, and you also don't want any triangles really. So that can be very difficult because these have to feed into one another. And if you look, I'll just drag this into here. You're getting a lesson on 3D today. If you look at this is probably the most integral part of doing 3D topology. So it's this point here. All the other points have 4 edges meeting into them. This one only has 3. These have to be placed very carefully because they dictate where these circles line up. So like the circle around the ear, the circle around the eye, the circle around the mouth. Like this one here, because you can't have just a line running all the way over or else you won't get any circles. So you have to line up these points where there's sometimes 5 and then sometimes 3 in order for the line to go around. This actually is kind of bad. You don't want stuff like this. This is a bunched up mess of topology. Yeah, and this is all done by hand. So you hand place all this stuff. That's why I told my boss, go find a 3D artist who knows what they're doing, because you've taught me, but I don't know how to do this, man. I'm like, I'm a 2D painter, bro. Speaking of, I should probably finish this. Oh my gosh, Rebecca, hi. What's up? Long time no talk. I should stop by the library. Friends from college. Yeah, it is monotonous. It takes weeks to even figure out how to do it. Is that looking like the monkey? Yeah, of course. Sorry if it was a little too much. Oh no, my headphones might die. I gotta plug them in. Good thing I got a charger. Let's see if these disconnect if I plug them in. They might. There's a good chance they actually will disconnect. Hold on. Oh my gosh, they're still working. Epic. Alright, I'm determined to finish this dude. Let's do it. Oh my gosh, I forgot I made a cup of coffee. Every time I forget. I went down the wrong pipe. I drank way too fast. I feel like this monkey needs a name. It's not very often you see a monkey just meditating. Thank you, Myriad. Very nice. It was a little cold. It was a little cold. I will admit the coffee was a little cold. Rawl, the monkey. Honestly, that is... I could not think of a better name. That is perfect. I'm gonna write that down so I don't forget. Rawl. Rawl the DJ. There we go. I think this is actually going to be a little bit closer. His arm is way too long. Looking at it more closely. And this hand is bigger because it goes up and then down. I feel like this needs to be a Pokemon. They have so many monkey Pokemon though. I remember picking Chimchar as my starter when I was 7 years old. I was afraid to go into the grass. You had to, and I was like, I don't want to, bro. That stuff's scary. I just want my Pokemon. I want to leave. Isn't there, like Vigoroth? Sloth King? Or is he a sloth? I didn't know. I thought Vigoroth was like a chimp. I don't know though. Oh, okay. Yeah, there is no baboon. You're right. I feel like there needs to be more bug Pokemon. I know there's already a lot, but just like for the sheer amount of bugs in real life, it doesn't line up in my brain. I feel like there should be way more. Oh, I should make it a little bit quirkier than that. There we go. Dude, monkey. There we go. Sorry if this is not as entertaining. I'm not talking very much because I went to bed at midnight, which I don't usually do. I usually go to bed at just 9 p.m. It's gonna go off in 2 minutes, I think. So we better hurry this up. The monkey's definitely listening to this. Rawl, the monkey. I'm gonna get in there with some color, I think. I want to use maybe the rake. Yeah, there we go. Get the digital painting look. You're on your way to work at midnight? You got the 9 shift. Damn, bro. That is serious. Let's see, purple, green. I'm doing purple, blue. Let's get like an orange, yellow in there then. Nah. Maybe like a light orange. Ah, not working. Okay, we can just do this. There we go. My guy. Oh, you're going to work now. I see. I hope you have a good day at work, man. Work can be taxing, but also very enjoyable if embraced correctly. The timer's gonna go off very soon, in a matter of seconds. I think I made his head too short, so I'm gonna fix that super quick by doing this. It's called a hack. Art hack. I think the eyes are too low. Don't do this. Make sure you have it down before you paint it. Yeah, the eyes are too small. Okay, I'm gonna finish this and then I'll go. Because I'm having kind of fun with this. Yep, I used to have so many layers. I do for environment pieces because that's just how I was taught to do them. But with work, unless if it's like a line art layered sketch thing, like line art and then with the flats and then with an overlay shadow, like I've really started to just use one layer with everything. Except for right now, because I have a very good reason to use the layer, because you see this texture I made? I don't want to get rid of that, so I'm going to do this so that I can preserve that texture. But what I do almost whenever I'm painting, really, what I do after I do that, once I do this, I almost always flatten it. Because like managing layers gets way too complicated unless if the entire painting is based on layers, which like this one doesn't need to be because there's no depth, like serious depth. But like if I was working on an environment where there was the foreground, the middle ground, and the background, I do use layers. But if it's just like if it's a character or a hard surface, I'll usually have a line art layer, and then a painting layer. And the painting layer, if it is like a flat, if the colors are flat, then I'll also usually have like a, what is it? I'll have a flat layer with an overlay and a multiply. But if I'm just painting, kind of like how I'm doing now, almost always it's just one layer. Unless if there is depth. Which I actually got into on accident. I used to think that people who painted on one layer were freaking cracked. And then I just started working fast and I realized, oh, I did all that on one layer. And I kept doing that over and over and over again. Now it's just habitual. It comes, I guess, with just working quickly, like how concept art is. Kazu Kibuishi, the dude who made the Amulet books, I had a meeting with him once, and he told me, this is actually before we had the meeting, he like came to my school and talked to our class. He was like, I made the Harry Potter covers on one layer, and then he brought it up and everyone gasped because they were so high resolution. Like there were so many aspects, but it was all like within the same foreground area, so it makes sense to me now. And like this is how we painted before digital. It was with a lot of care. I kind of want this to be like saturated. What do you think of that? Raw. One last feature before we finish this dude up. We gotta give him some flair. Some stylistic flair. I don't usually paint like this. I've been doing it more lately for my like plein air stuff because I feel like my plein air doesn't look that good, so I'll usually add a splash of saturation like this and it fixes it. It like actually makes it look good. And I'm gonna update his name to be like a graffiti style. I have to remember how to do that though. Maybe like cursive. Ah, dude, I don't remember. I'll just do my own thing. Raw. Raw the monkey. Sorry, I'm not talking so much. I just got locked in. Raw the monkey. I think that's perfect. That was a good little sketch for today. That's it for this morning. I will not be back tomorrow. I'll be skiing. But there is a chance I will be back on Sunday, if not Monday. But I will be posting a video today on YouTube if you want to catch up with me on tomorrow. I will have content available for consumption. Other than that, I hope you have a good day and I hope you liked Raw. And I am gonna end it here, I guess. So peace out, everyone. Hope you have a good day. Live, laugh, love, get some